And now I'd like to welcome on the head coach of the GEA UWS team, Marcus Kelcher. He wears a lot of different hats for the soccer community in Omaha, but we're bringing him on here today to talk about Gretna Elite Academy UWS team. Thanks for coming on, Marcus.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you.
So first up, off the bat, the last time this group and some of these players competed, they competed under Elite Girls Academy, and there's been some changes. And so now they're competing under Gretna Elite Academy. But the other change is they were a really solid team in the WPSL, and now you're moving into the UWS. What is the difference between the two leagues?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're two competitive leagues. I mean, they're virtually, I mean, they're the main two competitors in kind of this semi-pro circuit. I mean, both have got a pretty large membership. I mean, that they're both in the same markets. I mean, I think for us, we got our WPSL franchise back. I want to say it was like 2017 or something like that, 2018. And with the first year that we competed in the WPSL, we really didn't compete in the actual league itself. We kind of used it as a buffer where we just trained, created a roster, did some fundraising, and got everything in order. And then the next year we played as a full member of the Heartland Conference. We actually won the conference in our inaugural year, won franchise of the year, had some pretty solid awards, and then obviously, this past summer, the whole COVID thing hit, and we were approached by the UWS about our interest in branching off and creating a Midwestern conference within their membership, because they didn't have one at the time. And I spent a lot of time just kind of on the phone with the leadership of the UWS, and it became apparent to me after a lot of dialogue that the standards of excellence, the integrity of the league, the people that were going to be involved, their long-term vision, it really aligned with what we were wanting from this summer soccer situation, and we just felt like everything about our conversations throughout that 2-3 week period, really made it crystal to us that leaving the WPSL and joining the UWS was the right thing. And then obviously we had some clubs from our WPSL conference that made the jump with us. But for us personally, I can't speak on behalf of them. It all came down to, it was really people that made the final decision for us.
The follow-up question, you kind of mentioned about the members of the WPSL that jumped with you to kind of form what I think is called the Central Region or Central Division. Scott Gallagher made the jump. What are some other clubs that you'll be competing against this summer in that region?
Yeah. I mean, right now there's five clubs within the division. It's us. It's the KC Courage, which was a member of the WPSL previously. It's the Springfield Demise, who are also in the WPSL. And then it's FC Wichita, who are also in the WPSL. So basically you had those three clubs and myself that exited that conference and joined the UWS. And then we were really excited about the announcement of St. Louis Scott Gallagher. Obviously, they have a great youth setup in St. Louis. They're a staple of youth soccer. They've got great facilities with, Worldwide Tech Soccer Park and some of the other stuff. They pump out big time youth players into the college game and bring them back and train them. And those guys do a phenomenal job. And so it was really a big priority for me when we kind of established what we wanted to do at the conference, that we went after some clubs like that, clubs that were going to bring instant competitiveness to the conference. Because for us, it's really about that. It's about trying to compete against the best, try to put our players in the most competitive environment as we can. And St. Louis Scott Gallagher was a big part of that. I think the future plans of the conference is probably going to add, I know that Des Moines will be bringing in a team in 2022. And then I think we'll probably try to get an additional 2 clubs where we'll have a conference of 8. We'll probably split it 4 and 4 and do some things to make the travel realistic. But yeah, I mean, as of right now, it's just the 5 clubs.
That's a good group, though, especially like you mentioned with Scott Gallagher, just one of the premier youth clubs in the middle of the country, along with some of the clubs in Omaha. And so that's exciting. And you kind of spoke about their facilities. What facilities are the UWS team and GEA going to utilize for the players on the roster this summer?
Yeah, we're going to use the landing pretty much exclusively. I mean, in previous years when we were playing the WPSL, we used Caniglia at Nebraska Omaha. But I mean, just with COVID and the way things have shaped up and the ability to rent state facility like that, it became really problematic. And, we're really fortunate at the landing to have a really great playing surface, that doesn't have, some of the soccer, some of the football lines on it. It allows us the opportunity to to play in a kind of a centralized area. We feel as though the landing will be a good home for us. Will it be our permanent home going forward? I don't know. I think a lot of that's going to be determined on the success of us getting fans in the stands. And if that's something that happens, which we hope happens, then I think looking down the road, we'll probably have to find a venue that maybe can host more more spectators. But certainly for the 21 season, the landing will be our home base.
Yeah, and speaking of fans, they're going to have an opportunity to come out and watch a really good brand of soccer and a high level of player. If you've been following as a soccer fan on social media, GEA has been announcing their roster announcements for the team, and it's chock full of quality players. I mean, I know a lot of these players just having watched them play in the high school and club ranks while I've been recruiting, and then now watching them at the college. Would you say the team is going to continue to get better and continue to improve in quality? Like, is this team going to be just as good as the team 2 years ago, or are we going to see an improvement?
Yeah, we're really excited about this year's roster. We've announced 24 of the, and what we anticipate will be a 30 player roster. It's a really good mix of players that have played for us in the past, with some new additions as well. I mean, we're very fortunate at the youth level that, historically we've always put 20 plus players into college soccer every single year. So we've always had this nice alumni base that we've trained in the summer. And, we really take pride in the fact that our main priority, what was at Elite Girls Academy, now it is at Gretna Elite Academy, is that, it's all about producing college players, and college players can go on and play a variety of different levels, but be really dominant within that, whatever environment they're in, be prepared for it. And then, our hope is that the most committed ones and the ones that really have soccer as a staple of their day in and day out summer situation, that we can provide an excellent environment for them during that time. And so, if you look at the roster, due to NCAA rules, we can only have 5 players per program. So, right now we've announced 5 Huskers already. We'll announce our 5th UNO player probably tomorrow. We've got, several players from K-State, Kansas. We've got 5 players announced from UMKC. We've got players from, kind of all over the place. We've got kids that obviously play at the University of North Carolina that will be announced, that we have yet to announce. And so, for us, it's about building a really good roster, but the biggest thing for us is the commitment level of the players. Before we make any sort of decision as to if a player is going to be invited to play or not, because it's pretty much invitation only. You've got a lot of these summer teams who have tryouts. We don't have tryouts because we have such a huge alumni base, and so, for us, it's about picking the right player, the right personality, players that are going to, kind of dominate the training space and really set the standards where the staff doesn't have to really, talk up the players with regards to effort levels. Effort levels at this level is a non-negotiable. They set the standard. So, yeah, we're really excited. We've got a real strong group coming back, a lot of upperclassmen and a couple kids that we feel are going to be really good leaders within the group.
Yeah, just with that roster size, just the training environment alone is going to be awesome when you're able to play with the level of player, but also the numbers you'll have at your disposal. You'll be able to do some really neat things during training. So that said, games are going to be played at the Landing and Papillion. Right now, the plan is to be able to have fans at the games, hopefully.
Yeah.
Are they going to be free to the public, or how are fans going to be able to come and watch?
Yeah, historically in our first couple of years, the way that we did it is that we had kind of a donation at the door situation where fans that came in, make a donation to the franchise when coming in. We haven't really made the decision as to if we're going to have, tickets this year, what we're going to do. I mean, a lot of UWS, WPSL teams, they have ticket sales and things like that. I mean, for us, it's about the community. I mean, we're not looking to make a bunch of money off of spectators. We want to get fans in the stands. We want to celebrate women's soccer. We want to celebrate Omaha soccer. We want to show the community that, while I think it's fantastic that we have a USL club in town on the men's side, that these ladies can ball, man. We got a lot of good players and a lot of really exciting, really exciting kids that come out and are extremely gifted. And we want to show the community that, that the women's side of the situation is also very entertaining from a spectator standpoint. And we don't want it to be just family members from the players. I mean, we want to bring in, the youth, to watch the older ones play. We want to, we really want to branch out and make this community-based thing. And it's not just about Gretna Elite Academy either. I mean, yes, we compete under Gretna Elite Academy, but we hope that fans from all of the clubs in town will take advantage of watching some really high-level women's soccer this summer.
Right. And I think you brought up a good point of bringing in the youth to be able to watch this team play, like these high quality players, because that could eventually be them. I thought Reagan Robbie shared a really neat story on last week's podcast about how she is now a Husker after being a Husker ball girl when she was younger. And I think that means a lot when players can see these high level players in a situation that matters and they're competing and they're playing at a high level as well. Against opponents like that. So it's important for the community, like you said, and it's exciting. I mean, we've seen these players grow up in this community and play in the high school and play in club and go and play in local colleges. And so now to come and be able to come back and watch them as they've grown even more, and they're still competitive and still trying to win games, like that's an awesome opportunity for young kids, parents, family, former teammates, friends, all these people need to come out and watch this team play because it's going to be exciting and fun. Yeah, for sure. I mean, and Reagan Robbie, we're excited to have her in the group this year. I mean, Reagan obviously was a standout player, for us for years and years and years with our ECNL program, and tore it up in high school for Millard West, and now is, by all accounts, my conversations with John Walker is that Reagan's come in and just done a phenomenal job. I think Reagan has got future pro level ability. I think she's a kid that can certainly go on and play after college. We've got Mackenzie Coons, who I am certain is going to be a pro. We've got kids like Hannah Davis, who former Gatorade Player of the Year, Nebraska's all-time leading scorer. We've got Skylar Heinrich, Big East Player of the Year. We've got Lindsey Prokop, who was the WAC Player of the Year. So we got a lot of talent. That's some goal scorers right there.
Yeah, well, and that's just the thing. I mean, listen. I think the way that we play and our playing principles. I mean, listen, for this team, everything's going to start and end with the press, and we're going to defend high up the field, and we're going to try to create as many turnover in our opposition's defensive third as we can. And when we got those sorts of players in and around our opponent's box, I mean, I think we should score some goals as long as the coach doesn't screw things up this season.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I just like listing off those names. I'm like, I remember watching those players score boatloads of goals in high school and college. So it's gonna be fun watching that. And it's exciting that you want to play a high tempo, high press brand of soccer that's gonna lead to a lot of action, a lot of goals, and a lot of entertainment. Like that's what people are gonna get if they come out and watch this team. And again, they get to support a local franchise and local players that have grown up in this community. A lot of them have, at least. What's the commitment level that is expected of the players? Like you said, this isn't a tryout, this is handpicked. So I'm sure there's conversations that are had with coaches and with players. How many training sessions do they have? How many matches are you playing this summer? What is expected of players that are on this roster?
Yeah, I mean, I think the commitment level needs to be high, right? I mean, I have conversations with every single player that is added to the roster, of course. And for the vast majority of those players, I also have conversations with their college coaches. I mean, the entire roster, with an exception of probably 3 players, will have a college coach that I need to have a conversation with, so they understand the expectations. And basically for me, I basically tell the girls, like, listen, like, if you're not going to be at training week in and week out, if you're not going to be training with the right standards and with the right purpose, it's really not for you. It's really not going to be purposeful. I mean, this is about making sure that you're ready for your fall season. That's the big thing for us. We want to win games. We want to win a conference championship. But for me, the most important thing, bar none, is that these players go back to their college environment better because they spent time with our staff and with each other. That's the deal. And so, for us, the players will train Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays here at the Landing. Sessions are 90 minutes, here or there. We are conscious of physical load. So Mondays are off because generally we play on the weekends. Fridays are our travel day generally. If we're at home, Friday, if we do a walkthrough, it'd be very light, but generally we would do that on the Thursday prior. We do have some players that only train 2 of the 3 times. And a lot of those are some of the Power 5 kids who need to spend some time, with the strength coaches at their schools, so some of that stuff we're flexible, but we are very, conscious of the fact that, we need to keep an eye on what kind of load they're on. And the fact that we have 30 players, it allows us to have a good roster rotation, squad rotation. You can dress 22 players. So, I mean, for us, it's basically 4 home games, 4 regular season home games, 4 games on the road, and then a couple scrimmages to get things started. So we hope that by when it's all said and done, the players, they'll train 3 days a week, starting around Memorial Day, going all the way until the first week of July, and then they'll get around 10 games total. So, which is quite a bit, but if we manage it correctly, it's doable.
Yeah, especially with that roster size, it should be able to be. And like the nice part about the roster size and the quality is, even with roster rotation, you're not going to see a gigantic drop off from the players, which is great. I mean, it makes selection headaches for the coach, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I named off all those attacking players just a second ago, but I didn't talk about kids like Mo Gore, who's obviously a big time attacking player, and several others. But I mean, here's the thing for us too. I think, we've announced 24 kids, 22 of the 24 kids have been Division I players we've announced, listen, and it's not just our attack that's really talented. I mean, at the back, we've got Grace Brown, who's a top player for Nebraska. We have Sophie Lamanji and those sorts of players that have played for us historically. Maybe the most exciting announcement we've made the entire time was Jaylen Oderman. Jaylen Oderman played for me for 5 or 6 years as a youth player. She won 2 regional championships prior to ECNL even being around. So she won 2 legit Region 2 championships. She went to Nebraska, was a captain. She won a Big Ten championship, a Big Ten tournament championship. She should have been a pro, in my opinion. Jaylen might be the best player I've ever coached in my career, which is saying something because we've coached some pretty good kids. And, Jaylen coming into this environment, even if she's been out of school for several years, she comes in as what we hope will be a leader at the back and can really, really manage that back line. And, we got kids like that too that are super exciting, and we're really excited.
What an outstanding experience for the younger players on the team too, to have a player like that just to train with and be around and even get some advice from, especially some of the current Huskers that are playing there now, to look at that player who's achieved so much in her career. I mean, like you said, Region 2 championships used to be the deal. Like I remember when I first started coaching, I took teams to Region 2 before ECNL had started, and the level was, to win a Region 2 championship, that's a big deal. So,
the team that she played on, that might be the best team that's ever played in Nebraska history. Jaylen played on, we won it at U14, and we beat Eclipse in the semifinals. We beat Hawks in the final. And, they went on to nationals and played FC Stars and Defeaters and gosh, who was the other group we played at another group. But listen, like she played on a tremendous team. That team alone, you had 2 professionals drafted on that team, and Jaylen should have been the third. Paige Nielsen, who's a starter for Washington Spirit, was on that team. Caroline Flynn played for FC Casey. Carly Mueller could have been drafted on that team. Carly led the SEC in assists as a right back. It wasn't going. Jaylen's going to bring tremendous experience to this team. And that's really when I was talking to her about joining the roster, I just said, listen, Jay, like not only are you going to bring obviously a great addition to us from a soccer perspective, but what these kids can learn about your training habits, how fit you are still this far out of the college game. You're leaning on your experiences. Those are going to be invaluable. And really, I think that's part of also like, listen, when they're here within the summer, we want those players to develop, right? We want them to get better as individuals. And I think Jaylen will help us accomplish that with some of the young defenders that we have in our group.
what a team that she played on, and then she's going to help some of these younger players learn what it takes, and hopefully that help them develop into getting drafted to be a professional player. Speaking of professional players, have you had alumni from the past WPSL groups? Have they moved on to play professionally? Like they're not on the team right now and they're somewhere else?
Yeah, we had Meg Brandt our first year. Meg Brandt played for Iowa Rush and played at Nebraska, and she's playing professionally now in the league. And
yep.
She's obviously gone and playing. I mean, Jaylen was with the Houston Dash right out of college and ended up coming back. But yeah, I mean, we really feel that as we kind of get going, you're going to see that be a lot more trendy. We've got some players, like I said. I mean, Mackenzie Coons, Reagan Robbie, Skylar Heinrich. These are players that have big time pro ability.
That's exciting.
So we're really excited about that. I mean, listen, like for us, it's about creating a pyramid structure for our girls youth program, and not just at Gretna Elite Academy, but for across the entire state of Nebraska. Like, listen, like you start as a recreational player when you're very young, and you move up into more of a competitive situation, and then you move up into playing in whatever league platform you are provided. If it's USYS club versus club, or if it's ECNL with us, then you go to your college situation, and then now we've got, now we have the UWS. So if you're good enough, if you're committed enough, if you're self-driven and someone who we feel is a good addition, now you can play at this level. And I think it's a pretty special level. And, hopefully the next, level for them will be playing beyond that in the NWSL or whatever. So, yeah.
So my final question is, we talked about the future of the players and what what they could potentially do. What's the future of this UWS franchise look like right now? Or what are some future ideas or plans that maybe are in the works, or that you would like to get accomplished? Maybe not just this year, but in like the, 2, 3, 4 years down the road.
Yeah, I mean, I think from the standpoint of our particular team, like the big goal for me is to create a sustainable opportunity every summer for the best players in Nebraska, and both Nebraska and regionally, to play within a group that is self-driven, motivated, hungry to improve, who take their individual development very seriously, who want to be better for the environment that they're in with us, who want to go off and have tremendous regular seasons and postseasons with their collegiate programs. We hope that every year that the youth alumni that we continue to develop for years and years and years can go off to college and will come back and will compete on this team. I mean, this team is built for players in Nebraska who want to take their development even more serious. For the conference, I'm pretty fortunate that I'm going to be the conference commissioner. So, from my standpoint, I look at it kind of through two different lenses. I look at it from the lens of like, what do I want to accomplish with the franchise, with Gretna Elite Academy? But I also look at it like what I want the conference to look like, and I think that the more teams we bring in who have real high quality rosters and who are really well ran administratively and on the field also, like, we want to add some more of those, so we're excited about the Des Moines club that we're going to bring in 22. We've got some real ambition to add a few more. I know that I've been in talks with Hugh in Kansas City about maybe a reserve situation there, bringing them in. So we're really confident that we're going to add 2 or 3 really good additions, in the next 12 months. And then that's when I think you really are going to get something great, when you got 8 really good clubs. But yeah, I mean, my big thing is moving the game forward. I mean, Joe, you've been doing this a long time. You've coached at a high level, and I think both, you, me, and everybody else in this town that is fortunate enough to coach, the game that we love, we just want to push the game forward. And I think this team will do, I think this team is doing that. I mean, it's my hope that the community gets out here, supports these girls, and that we really embrace what will be a really special situation as it pertains to high level women's soccer in Omaha.
Yeah. And I agree. Like, we're just here to push the game forward. That's why I do this Nebraska Soccer Talk podcast. And I can guarantee you and the team and the listeners that we're going to do a really good job of covering this team, because I just think it's a team that is going to be really good and really entertaining to watch, and needs the support, because the more support that it has, the better environment is, the better the environment is, the more enjoyable it is for the players and for the fans. So Marcus, thanks for coming on. We'll probably have you back on again sometime soon to either preview the season or give us a season update throughout it. But again, thank you for coming on and talking to us about the GEA UWS team.
Yeah, Joe, thanks a lot for all you're doing. I think this podcast is tremendous. I think it brings notoriety to soccer in Omaha, and I really appreciate you having me on as a guest.